Hi guys, how are we? Transformation Tuesday number 3. I'm taking a moment. Week number 3. Wild. Breathe in. I know we're living in weird times, but today my guest is Nobisa Mda, a friend of mine from high school. Nobisa, first of all, I appreciate you, homie. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing this journey with me. Thank you for being one of the first people to do this journey with me. Learned a lot from you. Thank you for telling your story. To you guys, Nobisa is a creative, a storyteller, and a marketing genius. She's also here on YouTube. Pub culture. Sit back, enjoy, relax. Please stop what you're doing, go subscribe, and that is it. Enjoy, guys. We are creating happiness in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So we have 4 sections now.
Okay.
So there's the opera category.
I love that you have a whole opera category.
Because if you say to someone, what do you know for sure, they're gonna be like, wow. But then if you say it's opera's category,
okay,
then they're prepared.
Okay, cool. Borderline TMI. Okay. I want to get that out the way.
So we're starting with borderline TMI. When last were you constipated?
Wow. When last was I constipated? I feel like it was recent. No, actually, I feel like constipated. I don't think I've been constipated. I've been, what's the other one? Diarrhea. I feel like I had diarrhea. Because it was like, you don't know if I fart. Listen, I don't know if this is a fart or if this is like gonna destroy my clothes.
Yeah. You know you've traveled a lot.
Yeah.
Shine, my people. Have you had a one-night stand?
Yes.
Outside of South Africa?
I wish.
Really?
I wish. 100%. Preferably Nigerian food.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't take sex seriously. In the sense that, like, growing up, you get so self-conscious about yourself, your body, all of these things. And the older I've gotten, the more comfortable I've become in my skin.
That's so interesting that you said that. Do you believe in soul ties?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, like, I've gotten so much more comfortable in my skin that all the things that I feel over time have been the barriers to enjoying sex are some of the things that I've let go of. Like? So, like, just the visual of you seeing me naked, if it's going to be a different position, all these different things. So for me, a one-night stand, I think, is probably the easiest sex I've had, because in the sense that, like,
you didn't care.
Because you know that, like, well, when this interaction ends, we're done here. Like, you go home, I go home. Whereas when it's someone, it's a partner, if he doesn't hit it right, then it's a problem. Because when it's a stranger, I can go in, I'm like, nah, dog, like, let's start from scratch. It's not working. You know, I don't know, I feel like there's a freedom, there's an alter ego that can be allowed to come out. I think it's not so much being a sexual person more than it is about me just getting comfortable with me.
Yeah.
So that I don't feel...
Me getting comfortable with me.
Yeah, so that I don't feel overwhelmed, you know, in those situations. So that's why I feel like over time, getting older has really helped me get over myself, if that makes sense.
Nobisa's turning, how old are you?
29.
How does it feel?
Oh, I am 29 right now. It feels great, eh? Like, because my birthday's in January, people never have money. And I think for a good couple of years, that used to, like, not hurt my feelings, but hurt my feelings. Not that people are having money, but just knowing that it's not going to be like this huge, big celebration. Like, over the ages, I've just realized in the past maybe 2 to 3 years that I can't expect people to give me a birthday. So I have to give it to myself. So I go out, like, I think 2-3 years ago, I did free things for my birthday. So my mom was in Cape Town when I lived in Cape Town. We went out, I found, like, I literally Googled what are all the free things you can get on your birthday, and I went to do and get all those things. So you can watch movies at Ster-Kinekor or New Metro. You can
on your birthday?
Yeah.
For free?
You can go to Sobe, you'll get a discounted Sobe for a treatment or whatever you're going to do. If you're in Cape Town...
Even if you're not a frequent
if you're in Cape Town, you can get a free ride up to Table Mountain on your birthday and 7 days after your birthday. So your voucher is valid for 7 days after your birthday. There was a restaurant that was giving out like a free meal and a drink. Oh, then my mom and I went to Spur, because obviously you guys come on, the Spur song. Hello. Like the sparklers and the ice cream. And I've also now tried to take off the pressure on my birthday and do really affordable and fun things. So like now I'm going to do a very playful birthday, like very childish, arcade games. I wanted to do Gold Reef City, and things like that. So it takes the pressure off, because I mean, when you go to the arcade, you don't need to spend a lot of money to have fun, right? And in as much as I love dinner parties and all that type of stuff, I feel like it just puts so much pressure on all of us, because then it's like, what am I wearing? Who am I inviting? Ugh, like, no, please. I can know now that like by 7 p.m. we'll be done. And I can either decide to drink
I love this thing. Okay.
Yeah. Mama O is honestly my, like, if there was one person I could be in this life, it would be Oprah Winfrey.
So speaking on that note, what is your truth?
Way. I honestly can't stand these questions. I should have known. Oprah's questions just go from 0 to 100. And it's the most simple, it's a simple question. But it needs you to like, or you feel like, okay, let me dig deep. What is my truth? Let's have a moment of silence for this. Wait, what is my truth? My truth is happiness. In all, well, both in receiving and giving. It's also what my name means. And I feel like my mom fittingly gave me a name that is so true to my personality, my spirit, and just being able to bring light in people's lives however I can. Laughter for me is the best medicine. Like, any way that I can make people laugh is honestly so healing for me, because I find joy in laughter. A lot of my images, my photos of friends and family that I love taking are of my friends and family laughing. Like, have you ever had that, like, that laugh so, like, it comes from your gut and it feels like your abs are about to rip into half. Like, and then your tears just come out and you can't breathe, and you, guys, there's no better feeling. So to be able to bring like happiness and joy in people's lives in that way. And obviously I'm not a comedian. I don't know, my personality always finds a way to make people laugh. And that really is so fulfilling. So the one thing that I can definitely say is like happiness really, really is my truth. I think a lot of us want to be happy and a lot of us aren't happy. But I'm trying now to find happiness in small victories sometimes. In the company I keep.
You said something that stuck out to me, if you don't mind me just stopping you for a second. Some happiness is something that I want for myself. Do you think you found that, or do you seeking?
I've had years where I've found it, but I have other years where I'm like just really going through it. I think 2019 was a balance of both, but probably I leaned more to going through it. So like, it's, you know, like when it feels like something that you can reach out and touch, but every time you lean forward, it moves further. It's like this goalpost that just keeps getting out of your grip. I feel like happiness can be that thing where you yearn for it so much, but like there's things that just constantly keep pulling you back, or that keep moving the happiness goalpost further away. So I think it's something that I'll constantly seek.
What is your inner voice telling you about your next best move?
I think my inner voice is telling me to listen, like to listen more. I'm very talkative, so I love talking, I love sharing my own stories and things, but my inner voice over the past like couple of years or so has really been about listening. Sometimes a lot of us tend to go into conversations listening to respond. And you like, while you're listening, you're calculating, okay, what am I about to say about this particular thing, as opposed to just listening and taking in the information as it is. Guys, let me tell you something. There's nothing more beautiful than being friends with your mom. Seeing my mom, drinking with her, like walking around Thailand with her, eating, having like open chats, just being mates on holiday was such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift. And I want to create and give her more of that, because seeing her free to be her, and I think seeing her relaxed and chilled, because my mom is unemployed, and she runs, or she's in the process of creating and building her own business, bakery and cafe and things like that in Mthatha. And it's difficult, you know, when you don't have money. But like I said, the resilience and her faith and her hope, I think, keeps her going, which keeps me going.
How's that for you, by the way? Speaking about your mom being unemployed.
Yeah.
Doing life with your mom who all your life has provided.
Yeah.
And having a moment where she's unemployed.
Yeah.
And obviously our parents are old. So it's not like you hope for her to get a job.
Yeah.
You hope for her to do her own thing and have her own time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How's that transition for you? Going from being like a child to like a mother?
Yeah. I think at the beginning it was very painful. I think I've had to grow up, you know, very quickly from as early as 6 years old. I used to commute back from school by myself at 6 years old. Yeah, like I used to get home at 6 by myself and make sure that I have, I guess, something to eat and be safe or whatever it is. To your point about getting to a stage where all the things that she might want to do for me and she can't do, because I've had to step in a time where I actually am supposed to be a child.
Yeah.
And that for me, I think took its toll on me when I was in varsity.
Yeah.
Because of, you know, I was on NSFAS and, you know, she could barely at the time even afford to pay the family contribution amount. Because NSFAS won't necessarily pay everything, but depending on your family financial situation, they will recommend how much your family must contribute to the school fees and they'll take care of the rest.
Got it.
So what they calculated really, really was like above what she was able to afford. So even with that reality, I think it was very, very difficult for me. But I think I was never angry at her. I was never in a space where I was angry or I blamed her or I felt like she should have done more or that, you know what I mean? Like, because when things were good and because I always knew that if she could, she would.
Yeah.
Like I know that if my mom was a wealthy lady, guys, you wouldn't say it. I would be that spoiled kid who's got a car. If I crash the car, I might get another one. Like I have my own apartment that she bought me. Like I know that probably would have been my life.
Your reality.
You know what I mean? So I can't blame my mom for just the way that life is, because life has been hard on her.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I always feel like I need to do more. I have to be more for her because she's so proud of me. She's a praying mom, so she's also allowing, like, I'm not here by mistake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm here because of her prayer. I'm here because of her will and God's will. And so I'm just very grateful that in my moments of whether it's up or down, that's the one moment I can be still and know that, like, she's got my back. If my mom approves, I don't give a fuck about everything else or anyone else.
Yeah. If there's 3 things you were to tell your daughter about men, what would they be?
Way. Let me have a sip of water because men.
Oh yeah.
The one thing I would tell my daughter about men, the first thing is that men are beautiful creatures. Like, they really are. Don't get it twisted.
Love that.
Black men, especially. Girl, please. Beautiful, beautiful creatures. But on the second thing, I think broken creatures. And broken by society and not given the opportunity to, I think, be strong. Men think they're strong, but they're really not. And by that I mean, just because you can physically pick up the world, your spirit and your inner self, I think a lot of men are so weak. And it manifests in violent physical behavior that makes them think that they're strong. Because some of the toughest questions in life and conversations in life they cannot have and they don't want to have because they don't want to be vulnerable. And I think for me, I would want my girl to know to not ever diminish her power because of another man. Because I feel that men, at the end of the day, have so much work to do. Do you know how much inner work men need to do? Jesus be offense. Like, there's so much inner work that men need to do that we as women do every day. And I wouldn't want a person who is so self-aware to have to diminish their power because of someone who still needs to work.
So how should she overcome the brokenness of men?
I don't think it's something for her to overcome.
Okay.
It's not her job to
accept.
overcome. It's not her job to overcome more than it is about her living her truth enough to surround herself with like-minded people. I think it's something for her to constantly, like, I think that she needs to be seeking energies of people who actually are open and willing to be vulnerable, and men who are willing to be vulnerable. Because I think sometimes a lot of men think that being vulnerable compromises their masculinity. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't ever want my daughter to think that she can't be who she wants to be because of the patriarchal society we live in. The third thing about men, I guess, is that they're human too. I feel like in society, like this constant need to separate men and women against certain traits and against certain things. And like, I think I was having this conversation recently about humanity. And I would want my daughter to know about humanity that transcends men, women, that transcends gender at that level. Because I feel like as people and as society, we've fixated so much of our efforts against what women need to do and the role that women need to play and what role men need to play, as opposed to what we as humans need to do.
I love that.
To nurture each other as people.
Yeah. What would you say love is?
I would probably say love. Sure. Love is freedom. To be loved and to love. So whether I'm being loved by somebody else or whether I'm loved or it's love for myself, it's such a freeing feeling because I think it doesn't ask for too much. Like, it doesn't need you to be what you are not. It doesn't need you to almost alter yourself to be accepted. To be loved is to be taken as you are, with or without your imperfections. I think a lot of us as young people are trying to find who we truly are and who we really are. A lot of us are seeking that way of life that doesn't need me to show up in a certain type of way before I'm listened to, or before I'm appreciated, or before I'm accepted. In a space where I can walk into a room and people accept me exactly as I am.
There's something that you said that's like earlier on that you said that men are like not willing to have the hard conversation, and women are, which means that there's a part of them that they haven't accepted, right? So now when having a relationship with a person of the other sex, how do you think someone can like overcome having a relationship with someone that hasn't had the hard conversation with themselves?
With themselves.
Do you think that there's a possibility of like even love? If we're dealing with someone that's half having a relationship with someone.
Personally, I do think it's difficult. I definitely do think it's difficult because that's when then women turn into Bob the Builder and they're trying to like build this perfect man, right? That's why I was saying to a question around like what I want to tell my daughter is that I also want to be surrounded by people who are willing to do the work, right? So even to be in a situation where I'm with somebody who may not have done the work and may not necessarily accept certain aspects of themselves and about themselves. For me, I'm a big communication person. I'm a big conversation person. So I know that in any type of situation or relationship that I may be in, what I bring to the table and what I kind of expect for our relationship is for there to be open communication. And there needs to be a willingness on both ends to listen, but for me to speak and be heard.
Speaking of that, what's your deal breaker?
Disrespect. Meeting people who won't even be willing to compromise what they know about life. And
that's
a sense of not willing to hear what I say about life, and a willingness to not even open yourself up to the fact that your way actually may not always be the way.
Got it.
And just the sense of if somebody comes into my space not accepting of what I say is my lived experience and kind of trying to invalidate it because of their hierarchy of what they see life should be, that for me is disrespectful.
But then what does accepting mean then? Because if someone accepts it but still needs you to change, what does
No, so I think that it's not so much about accepting sometimes more than it is about trying to learn a new normal.
Got it.
Because we all come with different things, right? I may come with ingredient A, you come with ingredient B, But when we bring it together, it becomes something different, new. The deal breaker aspect is I don't ever want to be in a space where you aren't willing to learn something new. My thing is that I feel like the way that we relationships sometimes in the today is outdated. Relationship in the past, I think, has been governed for a big portion. I think men will provide, right? I am now the breadwinner, the nurturer. And the nurturer. So where is there room for that new normal? Where is room for that new role that I now play in this modern age? I didn't suffer all the decades, or the decade at least, becoming this career woman that I am today, to give that up in a relationship. And it's not to say that there aren't women who are like, okay, cool, this portion of my life, I'm now done. I want to now be a nurturer and be at home with my babies and my kids, and to bring them up and to be there for them every single day of my life. There are women who have committed to that. And I think that is a beautiful thing too. What I'm saying about my life and my truth and where I'm at is that I want to be a career woman. But I think that what I believe in more than anything is that we have to rewrite what we want our relationships to be.
So when you're speaking about this new norm, outside of your own direct, you and your husband and you and your partner, how do we build that for the community and the society and the country and the nation?
Well, I think we need to stop. I think we need to have realer conversations based off of where we're at. I think until we as individuals are willing to have hard conversations about, actually, what if my husband becomes a stay-at-home dad? A lot of our vocabulary or our jargon, I think, around relationships needs to evolve. It needs to evolve, because I think it leaves no room for the relationships that have two women, the relationships that have two men, the relationships that have a transgender husband or a transgender wife, whatever it is. Like, we need to create a new normal, because at the end of the day, our life and times are changing every single day.
That's so interesting that you said that. Do you believe in fundamental truth?
What do you mean?
Because if now we're changing the norms, what do you think stays? Is there a truth that stays through generation?
For me,
do you believe that there's such a thing as a truth that stays throughout all generations?
Yeah, I think so. Like,
I think what I'm afraid of, right, is when you're speaking, is that now are we getting into a society where everything is permissible so long as one person is doing it. So in the hopes of wanting to include that person, sharp, let's do this. In the hopes of wanting to, like, I feel like I'm scared. When you're speaking now, I'm like, okay, so until when are we gonna change the concept, change the dialogue, change, then is there a fundamental truth?
I almost feel like we almost get to new truths.
Got it.
Like, it's almost like a new awakening, like after a revolution, or after like a, because for example, during the apartheid era, as an example, there were certain truths that seemed real or seemed right at that particular time, until a certain group of people were like, actually, this is a lie. This is not how we're supposed to be living. That's a lie. And they fought for change. And then it became, we got freedom, and it became a new era, right? Which came, with new truths. There are certain aspects to life that respect your elders, like all those things, I think will remain. Like respecting your partner, respecting people, whatever it is. I think there will be those fundamental things. Hence, to go back to the initial thing about humanity, I think there'll be those parts of life that will still be true. But at the end of the day, I think we're ever evolving. Therefore, we don't always sit in certain truths, because sometimes they don't always apply to where we evolve to.
So the question is, what does a successful relationship look like?
Let me also just give you a teaser of who this guy is, and then I'll elaborate.
Writing.
Let me tell you something. So it's not so much that I believe in it, more than it is about what happened, the events that led up to me feeling like, okay, let me write this guy down. So over the years, like with pop culture and everything like that, and just other conversations that I've had over time, like I keep meeting people along the way who are just like, I prayed for my partner, I prayed for him. What I prayed for is exactly what I got. And then for me, I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I hear that, but I don't know what that, like, I hear you. And that's about where that ends. And then I meet another group of women who are like, writing down. Because you need to be very intentional about the words and the things that you're putting out. Because I think at the same time, a lot of us want to be in relationships, but we aren't, and sometimes a lot of us know what we don't want, but a lot of us don't know what we want. Every time I would sit down and try and write, I would just write funny, honest, respectful of my parents and my family. Like I felt like I wasn't saying a lot. But then I had this dream. In the dream, guys, you know those dreams that feel so real? Like, guys, I was my happiest. I had my dream boyfriend, whatever it was. It was like my dream partner. I don't remember who he was or what he was. I remember the feeling. So I remember waking up feeling like, guys, I was so in love with whatever this person is or this idea is of whatever. And then it just turned into a nightmare, like just waking up because it wasn't my reality. I woke up in an empty bed and I was just like, wow, I want that happiness. And immediately, all of a sudden I had all the words. All of a sudden I was like, fuck this, I need to write this guy down. And I kid you not, I literally spent I think an hour and a half literally scribing. Please look. I even have reference images. Okay, let me show the cam.
No, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. Literally. And all of a sudden, all the English came out. So my groups, I've got about him, physical traits, family, love language, and job. So I'll read 3 from each thing. So about him, has a sophisticated demeanor in public, but has the cutest and funniest sense of humor with me. This one I got from a friend. And when she said it, I was like, yes. Looks for me in the room. No matter where we go, no matter how busy, he always stops to make sure I'm okay and good and fed and whatever. And what I mean by looks for you in the room. So a friend of mine, we're having this conversation where a friend of mine went to this bride, and she wasn't like dating this guy, but they were vibing or whatever. Yeah. And gets to this place and she's so busy in the room and the thing, and this guy at no point stopped. He was so caught up in the festivities, at no point stopped to even acknowledge her from afar, acknowledge her, to even come to her, see her, speak to her, check on her. And that for me was just like, I don't ever want to be in a space where I'm almost like invisible. I'm as good as the chair in the room.
Got it.
I'm as good as the furniture. Like, you didn't even take a moment to just pause and just to like, just look across the room and like, you know that moment in the film where everybody else just goes invisible and it's just like, do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, it was just like, that is a vital thing. Look for me in the room, Gamding. Thanks.
But for better or for worse, what's your worst?
Being disabled. My partner getting cancer. My partner, yeah, like that would be a worst. Like a worst that would, or even me. Like if being in a relationship and I'm like to my partner, I can't bear children. Are you still down to? Do you get what I mean? Like,
would you accept if your partner left you if you couldn't bear children?
Jeez, what can I do? I can't force you to stay. I'm accepting by default now. Do you know what I mean? That would be really, 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 really hard. When the Bible is saying for better or for worse, that would be, I think, one of the worst verses, because I think it brings a different dynamic to the relationship.
What makes you laugh the most?
Yo, me.
That's beautiful. I love that. Best thing that happened to you this past week?
Oh, the best thing that happened to me this week was just committing to beating my face every day.
Yeah.
And like just literally, guys, I look so good this week. Wow. That was the best thing that happened to me this week.
Best concert you can say?
James Blake, Kendrick Lamar. That was the best concert I've been to because I'm obsessed with James Blake.
Best lecture you've heard?
Lecture?
Yeah.
Basically a testimony by Issa where she was speaking about networking across. And her whole testimony or gospel really is about how in life we're always trying to network up. So I'm trying to hope that one day I can meet a Patrice Mutsipa so he can catapult me into my new dimensional life, versus what she's saying about networking across, reaching out to my peers who may not have much, but if we come together, we literally can create something amazing. So I think networking across is really
powerful.
A great lecture that I was like.
Best sentence you've spoken, you've said?
I won't be able to think of one. I do have bars, guys, I promise you. Like, lots of them, even like will stop me in my tracks and I'm like, wow. But I can't think of them off the top of my head.
So let's remove the pressure from yourself and say the best sentence you've heard.
If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude.
Perfection.
Maya Angelou. Dr. Maya Angelou.
And the best word. What's that word when you hear it, you feel like it's full within itself?
Laughter.
What's one thing that you can teach someone, anyone, like anybody that you know?
What's crazy is that like what the first thing that's coming to mind is not even like profound. I feel like I can convert people to get tattoos. Babes,
When did you get this?
I got it. Well, last year and the year before.
Wow, it's a flower in a flower.
Yeah, so it's my late grandmother's favorite flowers. These are like flowers.
Those
in
white
the
ones, eh?
gardens. So it's like there's roses, there's dahlias. I really think that I can convert people to get tattoos. Because tattoos for me, I think I'm obsessed with tattoos, and I feel like tattoos can be incredibly meaningful if you think about them long and hard. So in an hour, I can talk deep things to you that can. Because what I do is just I mine your life.
You really think so?
I
You
mine,
really think you can
I mine your life, and we talk, and I try to get the extracts of your life, and use those to be the inspiration for what could be your tattoo.
I can say something to you, like ever since I've known you, like even in Pakistan, what I will say though is that when we knew like you, because you know sometimes we have to do these plays but in houses, knowing that like the presence of you guys always meant that there's gonna be an amazing show. So I think that what you are hoping to give to people, like you are that picture. Like even sometimes when I saw you at the treat, like sometimes just seeing you, I just want to laugh. I don't know why, because it reminds me of something from the past. So I think that what you are wanting to do to people, you definitely achieve.
Oh, that's amazing. I've known you since high school, but I follow you on Instagram since you started your beauty career.
Yeah, you really have.
And the girl, I've watched the transformation, and I've watched the joy in people's eyes when they see their faces. So trust me, what I do to my face and what you'll do to mine will be... What the hell? Guys, why can I do this myself? What is going... Hi?
Are you fine with the lip? Do you want something
Babes, I
shocking?
love the lip. I think I saw you hold them, so immediately I was like, these are my colors. Guys, oh my brows. I can't do this to my brows. A beat for me falls flat when my eyebrows look insane.
Yeah.
And people have made me look insane.
Yeah.
These brows. I think these might actually be the best brows I've ever had from someone else's hand.
Oh, thank you.
Guys, this is a...
Happy birthday, my friend. This is such a pleasurable experience.
Okay, guys, my number is 073. If you have a brother out there, DM me at Nicewise. Like, wow. Now, this is stunning.
No, yeah.
Babes, I wish you all the best with your career because
Amen.
what a damn. And I wanted lashes like this today, so I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. 2021, sorry, yes.
I really believe that these are going to be our best decades. Yes.
I'm ready.
Like, I'm very ready for this decade.
I can feel it. I'm ready for it because I'm ready to do the work.
Why do you think it took us so long to be intentional?
Because I think we just had we didn't have purpose. So I feel like we were just going about life because we were kids and our parents brought us into this life and we need to make them proud. And now we're living our lives. It's our time. Like my mom's calling me now, what are your plans? As opposed to back in the day, okay, no, so you guys are going to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's my time, it's our moment. So I feel like the older we're getting, the more we're realizing how much more important it is for us to actually get closer and closer to our purpose.